All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode in the journey or the diary in the life of a trainee PWP, the trainee of a psychological well-being practitioner. This is episode 15, all about week 15. I think, you know what, I'm going to do this vertical this time. Thought I'd switch it up a little bit. This week has been interesting. This week, we began on Monday, 15th of May, our first and only written exam that we've been preparing for almost 3 weeks. I wish I started preparing, to be honest, earlier, but did my level best, really studied for this exam. Honestly, when I saw the mock, I really felt that experience always beats theory. I mean, we've got a lot of theory, we've learned a lot, but the idea is that, the exam came at a right time where we're starting to get that experience of actually delivering problem-focused assessments, what we call PFAs. So this is just before we actually begin the intervention or begin to start treatment. And then we start our treatment sessions. So I think others probably already started. I only started mine this week on Friday, which was just yesterday. But the idea is, once you get that experience, it makes a lot of sense. Because I looked at the mock exam and I was looking at the questions and I felt like, this makes a lot of sense when you started the treatment. Overall, the exam went well. I remember, I went early. I think I was the first person there. Like, people think, like, why is he going so early? Well, firstly, I like to go early as usual. Even back in exam days, I like to go early. I like to start revising, like at least an hour and a half before the exam. Secondly, I had a feeling and I was positive that most of the people, the different sort of like our cohort for February 2023, were like different groups, A, B, C, and D, but I think it was ABC that three of us were taking the exam. And from what I can recall is basically this. I was quite positive that most of them didn't know exactly where the building was. So I wanted to make sure if I'm going to be the first person there, just, make sure that you ease people's lives. What I did was once I got to UCL premises, got to the building, not to the building exam, but just UCL premises, I felt like, all right, let me take a video. And literally, I'm recording the video as I'm walking and getting to the actual building. Because we could see it from the map, but we don't know where the entrance is. So it's in a particular building. It was at the engineering building. And, literally went there and I took a photo. I got the video, sent it to people. This is where it is. And this is where you need to go in terms of getting to the lecture hall that we all need to go and get our, go and do our exam in. Anyway, helped. So at least people knew where it was. I, went. There was a cafe sitting area, so I managed to get myself sorted. The lady was so kind, barista. Literally, I usually prefer to have my coffee, my Americano. I prefer to have a half cup. I really don't like having a full cup because it's too much. I prefer to have a half cup. That way, less water, more coffee. So the lady was very kind to actually add an extra shot for me. It was about 3 shots. So yeah, it was quite good for the morning. Kept me up and kept me going. It helped in the in the exam. So started getting out my laptop, my notes, and just started revising. Then I could see everyone coming in and, started discussing with some of my classmates and colleagues. And then after that, exam time comes, we get in. And the exam went well. Alhamdulillah. Thank God it went well. It went really well. It was a bit tricky, I'm not going to lie. It was like the clinical vignettes, the cases were quite, especially the first one was quite tricky. I literally, halfway through the exam, I had to literally scribble and I had to switch things through, because we were asked, like, how would you diagnose something or this particular case? And it was just a bit tricky, knowing which one comes first. But overall, it went well. It went well. The most important thing, the one thing I pray is that we all pass. That's the most important thing. Yeah, let's just pass. It doesn't matter about hitting 100%, 90%, just pass. That's the most important thing this year. And passing and graduating and qualifying as a PWP. Tuesday comes in. Now, or actually before Tuesday, I just wanted to share something with you guys. After the exam, I got a headache. That paper sucked the living hell out of me. It sucked all the energy. It's like a vampire. Literally, I felt like my head was... It's not like I was stressed out or worried. It's just I felt like it really sucked the energy out of me. But anyway, I went back home. I managed to get a walk, really tried to relax. And I think the only thing I actually did was called up one of the clients just to let her know that Friday, we've got our first session, just so that I can sort that out, book it, and it's been scheduled, and I looked forward to it. We're gonna get there in a moment. But Tuesday comes in, triage day. Tuesday is my day of triage. Triage again is the screening, looking at what the problems are, main problems, looking at how is that impacting the person, doing a bit of a safety review, looking at and assessing risk, and making sure to see whether our service is the right service for them or not. Two of the first cases were quite difficult because, firstly, they took a bit of time. They were a bit traumatic. They went through traumatic experiences, and personally, I need to work on making sure that the session duration, I stick to it as much as possible. As mental health professionals, we want to help. We want to give clients the space to listen. But when we have that time duration, we do need to stick to it as much as possible. But it was a lot. It was a lot. I mean, the supervisors were looking at me like, "You're right." Is everything. I was like, "I'm good. I'm good." It's just one of those days. You get through with it. It's experience. We learn. Every day is exciting, but it was quite draining. I'm not gonna lie. But fortunately, Tuesday, although it was quite exhausting, it came out. Fortunate that I've got 2 new cases now that I can take on for treatment. Wednesday now comes in. I had 2 scheduled treatment sessions, and one for Silver Cloud, the online platform that we use, and then the other one was for the PFA. Fortunately, both clients, probably personal circumstance that they had, one of them emailed me back and told me that she couldn't make it, so I had to postpone them. And it was a good day Wednesday. I had my usual supervision session, but prior to that, I had my mentor. So we also get mentors. I think I mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous weeks or episodes, but we do get a mentor, and mentor / buddy. And I was looking forward to the session where not talk about cases per se, but kind of like talk about what's been going on in terms of the program, talk a bit about uni, talk a bit about the program, the clinical work, just professionally, personally, how's it going. And it was a great opportunity for me to kind of like open up and to discuss some challenges, both actually professionally and personally as well. Currently I'm going through moving, and fortunately I managed to find a really good place not too far from where I'm working, and I'm liking it. Cost of living prices is mad, but you know what, it's unfortunate for what I found. Really, really, it's a good area. Even with the landlord, when he gave me a call, he was letting me know that he's been responding to so many people. He apologized that he delayed it, and I told him, look, I completely understand. I've already started viewing, and I understand it's a lot. It's very high and demanding, but I really felt comfortable when I had that discussion with him, and he told me that based on your profile, you seem like a really good tenant. It was good to hear that. So anyway, speaking to my mentor literally about some of the challenges that I'm facing, and one thing the benefit I got out of that was literally, why don't you try one of these the techniques that you're learning and you're training to use in your treatment, why don't you use them for your own personal self? You can use it in your own personal life and your professional life to kind of like help you to manage to get things done. So when we look at, the 3 different types of activities, when we use them in the behavioral activation technique, for instance, is that when you're struggling with certain routines, to kind of like set yourself a diary, set yourself a schedule, set yourself a timetable, looking at routine activities, the things that you do on a routine basis. Then there are pleasurable activities, things you do as things that you find things you find interest, pleasure, and that you enjoy doing. And then obviously there's necessary activities, things that are necessities, such as paying bills, such as getting things done on time and what have you. So applying that to yourself. And I was like, what, I might as well do that, because it's interesting that you apply it to yourself and it makes a lot of sense, and you can now it will help when you're delivering these treatments. So but she was saying like try to use them in your own personal lives if you're having struggles and difficulties, and that really did help. So that was interesting. Thursday comes in. I had my second PFA, second problem focus assessment. It went really, really well. I was looking forward to that session. And Friday now comes in, and I've got my first guided self-help session. We worked on BA, which is behavioral activation, and a bit of stress management, and that was really nice. Session ended well. Look forward to next week. And ladies and gentlemen, it's been a really good week. Exhausting, tiring, but guess what? It went really well.